like to remind all of our listeners that the opinions of individual shows or DJs do not necessarily reflect those of NBR Radio. Please keep in mind this is entertainment and intended for the listener with a sense of humor.
Portions of this program may not be suitable for those under the age of 18. Parental guidance is suggested.
The Beer30 Show with Danny and Joel, sponsored by Tee It Up for the Troops. Divots can be replaced, freedom cannot.
Alrighty. Beer30 is when you walk into a bar or a VFW, and in that 30 seconds, you can already tell.
That guy right there is drunk, that guy's an idiot, and that guy down there knows it all.
There are programs out there beyond the VA.
Many non-profit organizations. The Beer30 Show.
It's the Beer30 Show. Made by veterans.
For veterans.
All right, everyone, we are back. And we have... Man, how do you... Hold on. Okay. We have Shawn Goodwin, president and founder of Maine Veterans Project, on the line as our special guest today. So, real quick, Shawn, how are you, my friend? And welcome to the Beer30 Show with Danny and Joel. And thank you so much for your time today.
Hey, man, thanks so much for having me. I'm currently enjoying a foot of snow on the second day of spring, but other than that, I'm doing great.
Yeah, you know, I was wearing shorts here in Colorado for some time, and the last 3 days it's been snowing, which I kind of figured that was going to happen. We always get that one last snowstorm. So yeah, I'm kind of sucking over here, but you know, this is going to be I found out during the break, this is going to be a very long interview because I'm Army and we got two Navy guys on the phone. So you guys make sure to not hurt my feelings too bad today.
Well, any joke we make, Joel, goes over your head since you're Army anyway, so it doesn't really matter, right?
Oh, wow.
And it starts. Round one goes to the Navy.
Yeah. Danny, go choke yourself.
Crickets.
Hey, I'm just waiting to see what the next awesome camouflage uniform is y'all come up with anyway, so. Although I gotta say, every single deployment I've ever done has been with the Army, so.
Well, that's because I need Navy backup.
or you guys need babysitters.
Hey, when I was down in Gitmo, we actually had to take the babysitting job from you guys to make sure that we can do it right. Okay? Because apparently the Army just wasn't cutting it. I'm sorry, Joel. That's why they brought the Navy in. And then we had to train you guys on top of that. I mean, okay, so anyway, we'll cut this out for a little bit. So, Shawn, why don't you go ahead and tell us about yourself and how the Maine Veterans Project came along?
All right, so I'm a 7-year Navy veteran myself. Grew up right here in the state of Maine. Went ahead and joined the Navy. Let me see, and not to sound too slogan-esque, but traveled around the world, saw the world. Got out in 2009. Moved out to San Francisco. Found myself on a TV show called Destination Truth for a few years. It was kind of loving life out there, but in all honesty, when I left the military, kind of in a selfish way, I kind of just left. I've always been a proud veteran, but I've never been super involved in veteran activities, and quite frankly, was oblivious to the number 22, which is the number that we cling to of the number of veterans who commit suicide every single day. But obviously, that statistic is a little warped to the low end. So when I came back to Maine, to visit my family in July of 2014, with no intention of moving back home, I met Justin Fitch, who who I think is a household name in the battle against veteran suicide. And he really opened up my eyes to the epidemic and exactly what was going on. So quite frankly, I decided that, instead of being a selfish jerk and living my life, and just traveling around and making money and, doing things, it was kind of almost compelled me to move home and start a nonprofit right in the heart of, the most veteran-centric county and the poorest county in the entire state of Maine. So it's both a challenge and an honor to be here, mostly an honor, of course. But that's how the Maine Veterans Project came to be, kind of a trip home that turned into an awakening of sorts.
See, I'm actually kind of confused because I didn't realize anybody lived in Maine.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew about the lobster, but I mean, other than Stephen King, actually, I had a buddy who I was stationed. Go ahead.
Cousin rule.
Yeah, I had a buddy of mine stationed in Italy with me. That was from Maine, and he got out. He's out there back in Maine. Can't remember where, but I'll have to get a hold of him again. So what was your rate while you were in the Navy?
Hey, the best rate there is. I was a corpsman.
Ah, see, my wife's a corpsman still. So
That's awesome.
we're actually stationed in Jacksonville at the moment, and when I was a master at arms. So
Now, what is exactly a corpsman? I mean, I kind of get the whole Marine rank because it's pretty close to the Army rank. But when it comes to Air Force and Navy, I don't really understand the rank system. How does that work?
Well, you see, corpsman's great. Corpsman's our job. So essentially, the way the Navy works is we infuse our rank and our job at the same time. So I got out as an HM2. So a hospitalman in the HM2 was an E5 rank. So,
Okay.
so basically, corpsman is essentially, God, I cringe even saying this, but it's essentially a medic.
Oh, okay.
That's almost like saying a McDonald's cheeseburger is just like Five Guys. Not quite the same.
Okay.
oh, I'm with you on that one.
Five Guys burgers, by the way. Five Guys burgers. I should probably clarify that.
Yeah, I never even heard of that until I moved here to Colorado. We have those all over here. Do you have those in Florida, Danny?
Yeah, actually, I never had a Five Guys until I joined the Navy a while back. Navy joke, haha. Anyway, I don't think see, I don't think Joel got that one. I actually made a crack on the Navy just for you, Joel, because that was like perfect opportunity for you, and you didn't take it, so I did it for you.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. Maybe it went over my head because I'm on some painkillers right now. My back is killing me with this weather.
Stop wearing that backpack.
One of the reasons. But so Shawn, so you told us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about what Maine Veterans Project does. Can you tell me what and when is the annual ATV ride for a reason? Is that a benefit that's coming up?
It is. So essentially, the ATV Ride for a Reason is the flagship fundraiser for the Maine Veterans Project. When I first hosted the ATV Ride for a Reason, Maine Veterans Project wasn't even a thought.
Okay.
I was actually doing it for Justin Fitch and the nonprofit that he was supporting. So, I was home. The town that I hosted the ATV Ride in, barely 2,000 people, so we really didn't plan on much. It was 18 days from conception to execution, October of 2014. And, I was honestly expecting about 10 or 15 people to come out, raise a few $100 and more or less awareness. And all of a sudden, the thing started blowing up. By the time we were done, we had a corporate sponsor raise a little over $7,000 and had about 400 people come out. And so with momentum like that, you can't just let that go to the wayside. You've got to build on that. So after I saw, the outpouring of support for veterans here and the fact that we actually could raise a little bit of money in the poorest county in Maine, it was just a no-brainer to go ahead and move forward with the Maine Veterans Project. I think Washington County, where I currently reside, where the men are men and the sheep are scared, But essentially, we have the highest ratio of veterans to civilians out here. So it's really the epicenter of where we need to be, although we do service the entire state.
So you guys only help the veterans in Maine, then? You guys don't help outside the state by chance?
To be honest with you, brother, if anybody reached out to us, we wouldn't deny the help, but we are a Maine-centric nonprofit. And I will say, excuse me, it's not because we don't want to help nationwide, but there are so many nationwide nonprofits.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some of which have not proven themselves to be worthy of the title of nonprofit in helping veterans. But, you know, really, the folks up here in Maine have limited resources. You know, Washington County, where I live, we don't even have fiber optic Wi-Fi. I mean, it's about as archaic as it gets. A lot of people aren't in touch with, you know, with the benefits and everything we should be getting. I mean, every single veteran that we've helped so far, we have a partner nonprofit that has been in the game a lot longer than us and does benefit reviews. And so far, we're batting 1,000, finding out that these veterans aren't getting what they're due. And we're talking as far back as Korean War vets.
Right, you know, and me and Danny are so glad that you brought that up, Shawn. I don't know if you've know much about Beer30 as a whole, but in this show, what we do is we sometimes take recommendations from other veterans. Sometimes we just go out, put that fillers out. And what we do is we investigate every nonprofit that we have on the show. We investigate them for around 3 weeks. Me and Danny's job is to weed out the bad nonprofits to the good nonprofits. Because, you know, I'm sure you've heard of that whole group Stolen Valor. Well, we're kind of the Stolen Valor with the nonprofits. Me and Danny, we get some hate mail, but one thing that we are going to do is we are going to show the American people and society and our military the organizations that not only help our military, but that are doing the right thing. I'm not going to mention names, but we know a nonprofit that has been under the microscope in the last 3 months because they were bringing in more money than they were actually giving out to the soldiers. Those are organizations that we would not have here on the show.
The funny thing about that, Joel, is that we knew about that, what, a year ago?
Yeah. Yes.
So, yeah, so that's what we do. We do.
We're not talking about the World Wildlife Project, are we?
No, we're not allowed to mention their name because they would sue us if we did.
Yes.
But that should give you an idea who it is.
Yes, we are talking about the evil empire.
Well, do you mind if I caveat on what you just said? When we first started, I moved home and I hadn't been home in about 12 years. So, you know, moving home to a place this small, everybody knows your name, but really I moved home as a stranger. So in the first year, instead of going forward with full 501c3 status, what we did was we went under a fiscal agent, which in my opinion is absolutely the way to go for any nonprofit that's starting up, because we have a third-party treasurer that, you know, this entity has been around for about 60 years. They're very well trusted. We have a third-party treasurer that all of our funds go through. And for the first year, at least the first year, I've dedicated to take zero salary whatsoever. Nobody on the board of directors and nobody in the Maine Veterans Project leadership receives a penny of compensation. And I can tell you, brother, as of the last 3 months, it's become about an 80-hour-a-week job. And guess what? Zero complaints from this guy. I'm probably the happiest I've ever been working for free, harder than I've ever worked in my life.
Right. Yeah, so me and Danny just want to reiterate and let you know exactly what we're about, because we're not for sure if you knew what we did or why we do what we do. True story, and I've never told Danny this before, but one of the reasons why I created this this show was because I had a friend that he was hurt in Iraq, and he's paralyzed both of his legs, but he has both of his legs. And a certain nonprofit told him that he wasn't injured enough for them to help him, and that really upset me to the point where, you know what, I want nonprofits to be held accountable for what they're advertising, because the American people, they're given their hard earned money to support men and women in uniform, and when they do that, I want those donations, I want those funds to go to organizations that are doing the right thing and that aren't being wasted. So that's what we're all about. So when we and me and Danny love this because we're finding out about all these different nonprofits, how they can help soldiers, and how they can put us in touch with other nonprofits. And me and Danny what was it, like 7 months ago? We learned about an organization called Spa Swag for Warriors. Literally, they send Bath and Body Works to the soldiers. So that was kind of neat. So that's one of the reasons why we do this. And me and Danny, our volunteer and our producer that is dealing with the chat line right now, she is volunteer as well. But that's enough about us. Danny, since I've been talking, I'm going to go ahead and ask the number 4, and I think you can go back and ask the number 3 question. But can you tell us, Shawn, about your retreats, and does it cost?
Okay, so here's the deal with the retreat. That's going to be launched this spring. So what I didn't want to do, what I did absolutely not want to do, is be a fundraising nonprofit for, a certain amount of time only to launch a service. What I mean by that is be an only fundraising nonprofit before we launch a single service. So we did not buy a chunk of land and, go forward with developing it. We found a campground that was brand new that had about a half-acre chunk of land that was just sitting there. They've got all the infrastructure there. They've got handicap-accessible bathrooms on site. So we're going to go ahead and lease that section of land from them for a fraction of the cost of opening up a retreat. The cost to veterans is nothing. All they have to do is get themselves there. And I do believe I would like to create a program as we get bigger and as we get a bigger budget that we bring veterans in. But as of right now, no, it's 100% free. Everything will be provided. We even have, I can't call it hippotherapy because the individual that organizes it has not been trained in actual horse therapy. But we are going to let the veterans have. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm listening. I'm just saying, okay.
Oh, sorry, brother. Yeah, so that we do have the person of the campsite is going to give the veterans, guided horseback tours. The state of Maine has actually exonerated any veteran, Gold Star family member, or the veterans' family members of having to have a fishing license if they're with the Maine Veterans Project official, so they can fish freely on the local rivers and lakes. And essentially, I have a licensed clinical therapist that's going to be coming out for our group sessions where we sit down and talk. She's going to be volunteering her time. That way, if anybody gets triggered or goes into crisis, they have an immediate source of help. And we also have a giant teepee on site where a veteran can pick up a walking stick and walk into the teepee, and that will be the sign that the therapist will go in there and follow them to answer any question they have about perhaps receiving help. Because my hope for this is that veterans will get back in that camaraderie environment and say, hey, okay, something was off about me, yesterday. Today I feel good again. Maybe I do need to get some help after all. And we're going to have pamphlets full of resources, and we're also going to sit down with them if they request it and set up appointments for these things and, be right there with them every step of the way to try and receive help.
Awesome. And when we get done with this interview, Shawn, I'd like to sometime either today or probably tomorrow, I'd like to talk to you offline about maybe ways that we all can work together and we could help move this mission even further up. Because I so far I like what I'm hearing, and it sounds like you have a lot of passion. And there's a couple of things that me and Danny would like to do. So I think you might be able to help us. Gosh, why does it seem like every single time we talk, we're starting to run out of time? Danny, I'll
You
go
said
ahead
we
and
right there. You said we right there. That wasn't we. That was you. So you could tell Joel's Army just because of the way he talks and how long he talks.
Well, I can shorten my replies too.
Oh no, you're fine. You're
Danny
fine.
just likes to give me trouble because he's trying to make the show funny, and he's just not funny. So,
Well, wow, Joel actually made a burn against me. I like it.
Well, I gotta say, with the recent laws that have been passed, I think things are a lot funnier in Colorado anyway.
yes.
Yeah. Well, that's why Joel's room, like if you look on the Twitch TV right now, Joel's room looks really cloudy.
I
There's
was
probably a
wondering
reason for
about
that.
I'm like spit shining.
The medicine man.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like
So,
that.
so since Joel wouldn't shut up earlier, when we talk about that nonprofit that we were not allowed to mention, it reminded me. I was actually having a conversation on somebody with our Twitch TV, one of our listeners, and he was wanting to mention it, and I told him, of course, we're not allowed to. They'd probably sue us, and for me, we're broke, so they'd probably sue me for my kids and my dogs. And I was like, well, maybe I can get them to settle for just the kids. Um, but I figured, um, we could just name that nonprofit Voldemort. I mean,
Right?
so because from what I understand, the people who do mention them and do talk bad about them, they get sued. So
They're not
we
in Kentucky, are they?
I don't know where they're really based out of. Um,
We're currently dealing with one of those ourselves. Actually, I'm working with a veteran that battles issues of suicide, and the president of another nonprofit is actually literally bullying him to the point of sending me pseudo emails saying that he's, it's crazy, to tell you the truth, what this quote unquote president of a veterans organization is doing. But anyway, sorry, I just took your spotlight. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. I mean,
No, you're
I don't
good.
I don't
You're
mind a
good.
Navy guy interrupting me. It's just that PowerPoint speech that Joel likes to talk with.
But I will
So
tell you, I'm standing up to this guy, and I've told him, I said, look, dude, I said, we're the Maine Veterans Project. We don't have anything to take. I said, we get money, we spend money. And then that's literally how we work. If we have $500 in the bank and a veteran needs something, $500 is gone. We fundraise more, we give services. And I've told the guy, I said, my officers and directors are protected. I said, you can come after me all you want, buddy. I said, if that's how you want to spend your veterans' money suing me, feel free.
So Danny, we're starting to run out of time. I'm going to go ahead and let you end it and ask him the last couple questions that you were planning on to,
yes,
and then
yes.
you can take us right into break.
Yeah, so anyway, Sean, we got a couple more questions, but it's basically one big question. So, how can the listeners donate, and what kind of material donations can they donate? And could you also give us like your website address and any other information you'd like to give out?
Absolutely. So donations right now through our website for sure at www.maineveteransproject.org. And again, 100% of every penny will go straight toward the cause. Not marketing crap, not a bunch of T-shirts. We don't even have T-shirts. Why do we need T-shirts? They don't help us. And material donations, if you're in the state of Maine and you have something that you think will help veterans, feel free to reach out on that same website. That email comes straight to this phone. I'm the one that reads them all. I'm the one that will reply to you. If you happen to have a particular trade or skill, we do a lot of home improvement projects. We would love to have you out there, as a matter of fact, because we never pay for labor for those, but we always make sure we get skilled labor so it's done right. So that's how you can do all of that.
Well, awesome. So, thank you very much, Sean, for coming onto our show. I don't think any of our listeners have any questions. I've asked like 3 or 4 times. Um, But
yeah, and real quick, if you guys are tuning in, the number is 720-316-0368. We'll give you a couple of minutes if you want to call in and ask your own question. If not, then we will we'll get ready and let you go, Shawn. And I look forward to talking to you in the near future about your success. And tomorrow I will call you. I got like an agenda of stuff that I think that you might be able to help the Beer30 with. So maybe we can co-work with some of the ideas that I have. So with that being said, Danny.
well, once again, thank you, Shawn. It's nice to have a a fellow Navy guy with us, especially since the most time Joel likes to try to bring all these Army guys on the gang with me. And it's been so long since we had another Navy guy on here that I forgot half my Army jokes. I mean, I think Joel did that as a strategy.
Oh, whatever.
Hey, well, thank you guys so much, and for all the listeners out there, thank you guys for listening. And the Beer30 show is awesome. Thank you guys for having me on.
Thank you, Shawn.
And thank you so much, Shawn, for helping us vets.
All right. Hey, thank you guys. Have a great one.
Have a good one.
All right. Cheers.
All right, everyone. So that was Shawn Goodwin, which his nickname is Doc. But Shawn Goodwin, for the president and founder of Maine Veterans Project.
This is MBR, saluting those who have made the ultimate sacrifice for their country.
Rock and roll!
We'll ride if you wanna rock and roll. It's only rock and roll.
Rocking the troops.